Alright YouTube, well as promised, I told you I'd take you on a tour of my parents' house, and this is where I grew up. Now, we're going in the front door, and we'll start here and work our way upstairs and into the basement. Now, keep in mind, when I grew up here, there wasn't a whole lot here. It was a 24 foot by 24 foot house that was made by Sears and Roebuck, and I'll take you into the basement and show you the original and the original size and the old basement, and I'll show you upstairs and you'll see some of the original, but the rest of it has all been renovated. There's a closet here on the left side and two storage closets on the right, some slate flooring, and then this is the dining area. Now you can see over there towards the kitchen there's a little breakfast nook, but this here is what they've made to be the dining area. And they, because of their religious beliefs, and certainly how we were raised, was to open your home up to everybody. And this table will pull out and you can set, I think it's 24 people around this wooden table with the foldable leaves and all of the additional leaves in the middle that can be added to it. A lot of this furniture is the same stuff I grew up with. This little cabinet here and the pie safe over here and the china cabinet. I think all that stuff has been around since my parents originally, got married initially. One little neat thing is my parents went to Israel a couple years ago, and they're getting ready to go again here next month, and they brought back a ram's horn trumpet that it's kind of fun to blow. Maybe I'll work on that for you on a video. How's that? Here's a map of Israel, and they like to keep that on the wall because they actually tour guide. They're taking a tour of Israel for a 15-day tour, and they are going to be leading the trip as guides. So that'll be fun. Kind of walking to the right side here and looking out the kind of the back door, if you will. This is a patio area that has not been yet added, so this will be eventually a deck area, and you can see out there and look towards the garden, and my parents' garden would be all of that area out there that's under the white snow. And my grandpa put a double wide here on their property before my grandma died. This is several years ago, and they added on to the shop out there. We'll take a tour of that eventually, but added on, there's a one-car heated garage added onto the shop, and then when he's no longer here, that double wide can be moved out and sold. So we'll take a look at that later. Looking in the living room area, so it's back around towards the front of the house, there's the bay window that I took a picture of in our cold spell that we had last week and the power was out. I'll throw a picture up here on the video so you can get some orientation. But this is the living area, and there's some things here that's not finished. There's supposed to be a bookshelf in that nook there where the toy box is. There's supposed to be a bookshelf eventually built and added there, and another bookshelf added here. And here's your window, and here's the view. I think about like this is the view that I had in that photo. And I also put another one on Google Plus that was about like this or so, with the truck stuck in the driveway. So that's looking out, and you can see, I think just last year Dad added a new sidewalk here, and that goes around to a stairway that runs into the basement. So that's the front section. Here is the fireplace. They have marble around the fireplace, and they just recently, I think it was this fall, they added this fireplace insert. It's a hearthstone insert, or a hearthstone, something like that. And I'll tell you, I'm real impressed with that insert. I would highly recommend that you consider getting something similar. And if I can find an item online, or this product online, I'll put a link to it in the video below. And if not, ask me and I'll still try to help you find it if you're interested. But it works very well, and I don't know the square footage of this house, but I can tell you this much, that if you are in the other corner of the house on a cold day as long as that fan is running and you're pumping air and siphoning air off of, or hot air from around this insert, it keeps this house well above freezing and comfortable. And the only time that the fuel oil heater will run is typically in the late or early morning, say between about 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. before they're able to stoke the fire again. And the mantle's not done, but eventually, I was talking to Mom about it today. She said they're wanting to build a mantle that comes all the way down, pillars on both sides, across, and goes up to something that's crown molding with some decorative carving on the ceiling area and a mirror in the middle. So that's kind of their plan. I think they're just waiting on the funds to do that. And again, slate around this area, and the purpose of that was to, this is a wood box here, but the purpose of that was to, obviously less wear and tear on the carpet where you have heavy traffic. Now you're looking here into the breakfast nook, and this area here, we'll take a look at it in the basement, but is formed out in the basement all the way down to the footer, rather than this hanging out from the side of the house. So that's a neat added benefit to the basement. And this is the table that I grew up with. It was the first table they had when they got married. And you can tell it's been through it, but I'll tell you, there was a lot of good times around that table, and I sure do remember that. The kitchen, my apologies for it being any kind of messy at all, but I think you get the idea. This is all custom cabinet work, and I can't tell you the wood, but it was made by a minister here in their church, and they have, well, most of you know that the Amish, or what they are, is German Baptists, but they're crafty when it comes to working with their hands and with wood. And all of this is custom designed for Dad and Mom the way they wanted it. A couple features here is on both sides of this island, right here and on the other side, are some trash cans. And if you look down here, you can actually take your foot and release it and open it up and push it back shut with your foot, and it locks. So that's an incredible little mechanism that you have available to you if you're designing your kitchen. And another neat benefit to this kitchen is this little corner cabinet. And you can take this thing, fold it away, and you can then access, I won't move that, but then you can put your mixer and some of your appliances there, your countertop appliances, and hide them away very quickly and easily, and leave them all plugged up in that corner. So just to help, I guess, work with the clutter, if you will. And let's see. Another added feature that Dad and Mom wanted to add was, I can't remember what drawer this is. I think it's over here. Mom does a lot of baking and cooking, and she added a dry baking drawer with bins. So you've got your flour and your sugar, and this could be used for whatever, and additional storage here. And I'm telling you, I would love to have that in my home. And when I build a house, I probably will do something very similar to this, maybe on a slightly smaller scale, because I'm going to try to build a small home. But on a smaller scale, I will probably do that. And then you have double ovens, double convection ovens, and your stove in the island, and a nice refrigerator there. So let's walk back around, and if you're standing here in the kitchen, this is looking back the hallway, and there's a walk-in pantry here, a small closet for your cleaning supplies right there. Let's take a look in the pantry. Now this is just the small pantry. They have a pantry downstairs that I'll show you later for more food storage. But it's just a nice size for the commonly used items. And if you notice, when I opened the door, the light came on, and they have all of the doors. Now this is a pain in the butt to put in, but if you can do it, these little switches that turn on or that connect when you open the door is a time saver, and certainly is something that I will do if I build any closet or storage pantry of size. Now this is walking back from, here's the kitchen, and back from the kitchen this is the garage, and looking back we loop around what is the stairway that goes to the basement, and the other side comes up to the upstairs. But we're going to back up here and we're going to just peek out into the garage. This is a half bath, and again it's just a toilet and a sink area. And I have all the lights turned on just so I don't have to flip them on and off as we go through this. This is the garage. Well, I said I had all the lights on. This is the garage, nice little 2-car garage. It's not big, but it's a decent size. It's all drywalled and insulated, and most of the house, and my dad might be able to correct me here, but most of the house has a polyurethane coating sprayed in. I believe all of it does, is polyurethane coat and then bad insulation on top of it. So not sure the total R value, but real handy. And when we had our cold spell, the only thing that froze in this house, there's 2 wood stoves, but the only thing that froze was that faucet right there, and nothing broke. So we were very fortunate. And again, walking back from the garage, that's the little stairway down and up. We'll turn, and this is the laundry room, and you've got a nice area to work. You can fold your laundry. Mom likes to sew. All of our storage, lighting under the cabinets. There I am. This is looking into Dad's office. Turning back around, looking back towards the kitchen and the breakfast nook in the hall. Here is a foldable, and you can hide. It's a, I don't know, you can hide away this thing. The ironing board. And then looking this way, this door is the laundry chute, and you can see that they just have a big drum there, and look up, and that's the chute that comes from upstairs. And I'll show you that from upstairs. Alright, going back around here, again in the hallway, back to the front door, turn, the basement steps, and looking back into the kitchen. Alright, I'm going to turn 180 degrees. This is the hallway. Walk back. Dad's office here on the right side. He has his own business. He has a power washing business. And Dad and Mom's bedroom. And a little double sink. And in here's the showers. Shower in the tub and toilet. So we'll get out of there. Alright. It's odd going into your parents' bedroom, I'll tell you. Alright, let's go upstairs. So we're going to cruise along here, and we'll head upstairs. Living room, dining area, kitchen, back upstairs. Let's cruise up there. Now, Dad decided to save on energy. They'd put in a whole house vent or negative pressure fan. And so in the fall and the spring, and even a lot in the summer at night, they can turn this fan on and turn the heating and cooling system off. And when this fan turns on, these louvers open up, and that big fan will exhaust the heat from the house. And they just open up the windows and let her rip. This is my brother's room. Here's a laundry chute door, laundry chute access. You can get to it from both sides. And my youngest brother still lives at home. This is a new addition. Again, laundry chute. But his room, this is access to above the garage, and there's just storage up there. There's a small walk-in closet here, and a small walk-in closet here with a little office corner, and 2 windows right there. And this is just what the walk-in closets look like. It just follows the roof line. Not bad. Alright, out of his room, and this is the old section of the house now that has not been modified. I believe, I may be corrected here later on, but I believe this wall is the outside of the old wall, Now I'm telling you wrong. This is the outside of the old wall. This is an old exterior of the old wall, and it came across here like this all the way to over there, and I believe that that corner was also the corner of the old wall of the 24 foot by 24 foot square. This is a linen closet. I'm not even going to, well, I'll show you in there. It's just a nice linen closet with cedar lining. The 2 bedrooms we had growing up, this was Dad and Mom's bedroom, and a couple windows. Yes, not a lot's been worked on here. I mean, it's structurally sound and there's insulation blown in from the outside, but not a lot of work. And a closet there. Let's see, over here, same thing. Now, us boys, growing up, there was 4 of us. I was the oldest, and my youngest brother still lives at home. But we had, Dad and Mom had this bed made, and again, I think the same people that made the bed made the kitchen cabinets. But this bed was a bunk bed that was a queen-size bunk bed, and they cut it apart here just for the sake of not needing a bunk bed anymore. But 3 of us boys were in this room at one time at any given moment, and the other one had a tiny bedroom, and for a while it was the baby room. But let me tell you, you know, it was an experience, and it made us a close family, and it's one of the reasons why I want to get back to having a small home again, because really, this is just too large. It's not right. This bathroom was from this wall over here on the left all the way to that wall was a bedroom, and this was used kind of as the baby room, and then once there was no more babies in the house, then I got this room, and the other 3 had the other room. And it was a lot smaller than this. It's been modified. It was from about the edge of this door. There's the door, and there's the outside of the wall. So it was about that wide. And the portion here where the toilet was and the closet you've seen on the other side, that was all closet. So I didn't have a lot of space, but I'll tell you, it was nice having that space. You know, growing up as a kid. There's the front driveway. And I'll show you the bathroom. There's still some Christmas stuff here Mom's trying to get put away, but this is the bathroom that we grew up with. We only had one bathroom growing up. So you can't see now that it was a bathroom, but it's storage now. But this storage section was where the bathtub was, right there. That was the bathtub and shower. And this was the vanity, and there was a sink in the vanity, and it's still the same cabinets. Back there was the toilet in this little nook. And here was a linen cabinet. And again, the vanity that's still here. Just has the doors taken off of it. And I'm telling you, you know, I'm in shorts right now, but here, I'm standing I'm touching that wall, and I'm standing more than halfway back to the other wall. So it really is small. I can't get a good angle in here to show you how tiny this is. But 4 boys and Dad and Mom growing up, and that's all we had. So we were happy with it. You know, we didn't know any different. Had to take our turns, and I want to go back to that. I really do. There's just so much value to having that as a family. So let's head downstairs, and we'll curl around 180 degrees, and we'll go into the basement. Well, before I go in the basement here, let's look out this big bay window. We didn't get a chance to do that too much. This is looking out into the, kind of in the back. You can see there's a cow mini shed over there where the cows, Dad keeps some cows. This is his work barn, and Grandpa's garage, his house. This is right here is the garden area. You can see there's a set of horseshoes right there, a game that's set up with sand pits. If you look all the way out there in the field, you can see there was set up for 3 volleyball nets, and then there's a soccer field on the other side of the volleyball and on the other side of those pine trees. And there's a tetherball pole right there, if you can see it with the ball swinging. So it's kind of set up for activities for young people, and that's what we did when I was growing up. I'd worked for a construction company at the time, and brought the bulldozer over here, and I flattened that whole field out and planted it in grass, and we had a great place for the young people to get together. And you know, Dad and Mom's church, they call them young folks, which is kind of cool, I guess. But here's some pictures. It's the photo wall. And let's go back into the basement. Now I realize that this is going to be a long video, but you know what? Just deal with it. If you don't want to watch it, skip ahead, comment. You know, I'd just like your support, and I thought you'd be interested in seeing kind of where I grew up. This is the basement, and let's come down the steps. This is the breakfast nook. You can see here how it angles out at a 45 and across and back in. That's the breakfast nook. And you know, you can see here that's the sewer pipe running out. But Dad and I decided that the best thing to, and I convinced him of this, I think, if I recall, and we were talking about it today, but the best thing to do would be use these not fiberglass, form blocks. And at the time I was working in construction, and we did regular concrete walls, but I convinced Dad that that'd be the way to go. And we were talking about it today, and he said, you know, I'm so glad that we put in that. And he actually had fun doing this. He could do it on his own time, didn't have to borrow any forms or rent forms from anybody. And once we had that stuff put together, you poured it and you were done. And then you have those strips to screw your drywall or your you know, whatever you decide to put in, you know, against that. You don't have to put in furrowing strips and build your wall out, and you already have your insulation. So it was the way to go. And you can see here that all of the water lines are done with pics. And you use you know, when you're looking here, get the camera right, you can see where the water lines and the electrical lines come in, and that one was added later, but here's a good one. Water lines, and probably, no, there's no electrical there. There's one over there, but you cut them in with a hot knife, and you put them in, and then you come back in with foam later and squirt some foam in there, and it holds them in place. So it's real quick and easy, and it's just the way to go. There's the power for the stove, so I guess that's 220. The power for the stove, and so on. And so now here's the kitchen, and the kitchen was just a used kitchen that somebody, again, the people that made the kitchen upstairs, the cabinets for upstairs, they were putting in a new kitchen in somebody's house, and the house that they were putting the new kitchen in, they were getting rid of this stuff, and Dad and Mom got this whole kitchen down here for free. And so they installed that down here in the basement. And you know, a lot of the things are things that they had growing up. This was the sink that we had upstairs in the old house growing up. And I'm just really, you know, I really like what Mom and Dad did, because they did a great job of trying to keep things that you know, mean something, things that you use every day. This ping pong table was a ping pong table that my dad and his brothers and my uncles and aunt, they played with growing up. And when I was, 14 or so, I had got the ping pong table from over at Grandpa's house, and I refinished it, painted it, and now I've passed that on to my kids, but they don't have the facility for it. So when they're here at Grandpa and Grandma's house, they play ping pong on a table that my dad and uncles and aunt played ping pong on. Let's go in here. This is the utility area, and there's a water heater, the back side of the shower in the bathroom, your mana block and your PEX system storage, and here is the sewer sump, and this is the footer drain sump. And so this is not the lowest point in the system. It's a backup. It all flows out with gravity towards the front of the house and down the hill and into the creek that they have here. But this is a backup in case something gets plugged up and it needs to be pumped out. Here is a bathroom that they've added, and sorry for my stuff in here, but you've got a sink, and Mom wanted it to be a little beachy down here, but you've got the bathroom with a toilet, and in here a shower. Alright, and if you were to flip around, this is the other food storage walk-in closet, if you will. And my mom does a lot of canning, and this is where I learned to prepare, I guess. But I got away from it when I moved into the city, and that's really one of the reasons why I want to get back to this. I'm just doing it on my own in a little different way. So, my mom loves to do this stuff and can and prepare, and you can see, I guess that's where I got some of my my upbringing, I guess you could say. All right, so let's go back here, and we'll head over towards the other side of the basement. Here is the open section of the basement. This is the old basement. All this here is the old house, and we'll go in there in just a minute. But you can see how much higher it is. This is a 9-foot wall. So the top of this, the forms are 9 feet from the, let's see, it'd be 9 foot from the footer. And these lights are hung in here so you could put a drop ceiling in and hide all this. This is a door access to go outside, and you probably can't see it, but there's a railing. Well, you just can't see it with the lights on in here. But there's steps, and they go up and connect with the sidewalk that I showed you earlier. A second heat source, and believe me, that was necessary if we were keeping this house warm when the power went out the other weekend. And I'll tell you, that was just a real nice thing to have. It's got a fan on it, and it can be used, and it will keep the house from freezing. See these two lights here? These two lights came out of a camper that Mom and Dad had when I was growing up, and it was a little bigger than a teardrop style, but it had the rounded front and the rounded back, made from aluminum, painted aluminum, and they saved these lights, and I'm so thankful they did, because it just brings back old memories. And that bookshelf was built for when we were kids. They built that bookshelf upstairs because we needed book space, or space for books. They didn't have any money, and guess what? They used boards and bricks, and they still have it today, and it looks kind of neat. Looking at this wall here, this wall is this is kind of where I was alluding to there being an engineering feat that we had to deal with. And well, not that this whole house wasn't. I mean, you have to deal with things that you just don't have to deal with in new construction. But this is the old basement. And let's jump in the old basement, and then you'll understand why this wall looks like it does. So if you go in here, and I did not turn the lights on, let's just take a quick peek around, and then we'll come back out and you'll understand. This is the old house basement. It's 24 foot square from this wall to behind me, and from this wall right here to that wall over there. And on 3 sides of this, they have this ledge. See this ledge? This ledge was for a couple of reasons. First of all, because these old basements were notable, they were known for flooding and not draining out very well. The ledge was to keep things up off the floor for storage, but also because they dug these out, and this house was built in, I think, 1901 or sometime right around there. They dug these out by hand, right? And they didn't want to dig as much dirt out, so what they would do is they would bring the wall down to about here, and then this ledge was filled in with dirt. And so they would have to dig out less dirt by adding this ledge in here, plus it was functionality. So that's kind of cool. Dad and Mom built in shelving here, and this was for food storage back when we lived here, and this is the size of the house. They added in later on, Dad and I added in a little shower area and sink to handle more people. And they have an annual conference every year. Here's the fuel oil tanks, one there and one there. But they have an annual conference every year. And with this annual conference, they bring in a lot of people. And when they bring in all those people, they need a place for people to get showered so that they can go to church for 4 days straight. Anyway, tell a little story on myself. When I was excavating, and I'll show you a picture of what I was, some excavation that I was doing when we were adding on to the house. When I was digging this out, I screwed up, and I put the excavator bucket through this wall right here. So we fixed it all up and used it for a crawl space access. And this would be a crawl space access into, it would be under where the office is and under the part of the sewing room. And you can see here, this is what those forms look like. So those forms are, they're just the coolest thing. They're so versatile. They make some better ones now. This was about the first generation of forms that were like that. But, they just look, they're so nice to have. And I would, if I was building a basement on a home without natural resources, that's what I would use. So let's take a look at this wall, and we'll see why we had to add that. So if you are, I guess I'll stand right here. Let's see. If you're looking at, the camera is right level with the top of that ledge. And if you come across, you'll see that what they did is they brought their wall down, the outside block wall down, and they stopped right there. They didn't keep going, and we didn't know this when we dug this out. They didn't keep going down, but they put the wall on some bricks, mortared it in, and that was their footer, was this high, when the floor was all the way down here. So everywhere there wasn't a ledge, we had to add this wall here. And so what we did is we come in and we poured a footer in just like you normally would, formed up the wall, poured the concrete in, poured pea gravel in behind it, and before we poured pea gravel in behind it, we put a footer drain in, poured pea gravel in behind it, and now we have something that looks somewhat finished through here. Oh, you got to see this picture. This picture is a picture that we had growing up. I have no idea who the artist is. It's faded. All the color's gone out of it. But this picture is something that was in our living room growing up. And as a kid, boy, did I look at that picture for hours. It's just really neat. So, anyway, so I thought you'd like that. Here's one for you. You ever seen that saying before? It takes only 13 muscles of the face to make a smile and 65 to make a frown. Why overwork? I don't know. I like that stuff. Here's some pictures. This is our senior pictures of us boys. And look at this handsome fella. Thought you'd like that. Here's a picture of my mom. Probably, I don't know, right before they got married. And a picture of my dad shortly before they got married. And us boys, that was the three of us before the fourth one came along. Here's a picture of Dad and Mom when they got married. My youngest brother. Sorry for the lighting. Next one. And another one. He lives in Ohio. This one here lives close to Mom and Dad. And this one here lives at home still. So, yeah, well, there you go. I don't know what else to show you than that. Here's a nice big cardboard box for the kids. But oh, I'll show you one more. Here's another picture. They had this picture, one very similar to it, in the stairway. And I'll cut the video off at this. So if you see this, comment about it or let me know that you watched it. This picture is something that helped to build my character for years. and still does, and I think about it so much. And the reason why is because you have this, we have to remember that we don't get to heaven by doing good works. We don't get to heaven by just making people happy or by changing the world. But we get to heaven by the cross. And the cross is where Jesus died for our sins. And if you want to challenge me on it, I welcome you. Comment below, private message me, and I'll be glad to talk with you about it. I won't be argumentative. I won't tell you that you're wrong. But what I will tell you is what I believe. And I believe that by the cross and through His blood, we can get to heaven and have eternal life. And it's not because I don't want to believe something else. It's simply because there's nothing else in history that can challenge that fact. Science cannot even challenge the fact that Jesus died and was raised again, along with 4 other facts, and I'll dig into it in maybe another video or Google Plus or on a blog. But either way, we know that Jesus, even though you may want to call him a prophet or a good man, he still died and he still was raised again, and he was seen after he was raised by God. He was seen and walking among men, and then he went up to heaven to be with God. And that's not just a made-up story. There's facts, other ways to prove that that's a factual story. So this picture means a lot, and it meant so much to me that a couple of years back I had a tattoo artist work on this, and he's working on a back piece for me that is started, and I won't talk any more about it than that. So it's modeled after this image, and it will be very neat when it's done. Not all the color, but it'll be very neat. So that's all I have for you. More next time. I hope at some point that in this video you may have found something that will help you, that will inspire you, and in some way you may find value, and this will help to change your mentality about life and your outlook and knowledge about who I am as an individual. More next time. Please comment below. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. And then right here is the laundry chute. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, that's the laundry chute. Let's see if I can get that thing back on. There we go.